It's supposed to feel.
All right, what's going on, beautiful people? It's the Pirates Postgame Show. Pirates win this one 2-1. I am Tyler. With me, as a usual Sunday, seems to be my guy Dougie Fresh.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, boss man?
Hey,
Pirates
things
win.
are good. It's June 11th. Your Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place, and maybe in sole possession of first place here soon.
Right.
Mitch Keller, I wouldn't say he pitched great. I mean, he didn't pitch great, but got the win. He was much better than he's been recently. And I don't know, somebody got their 2000th hit. It's not a bad day. Not a bad day of baseball.
Well, to start here, Pirates take 2 or 3 from the Mets. I feel like this takes a hair of a sting away from that A's series, especially what the A's are doing right now to the Brewers.
Right. When you combine that the A's, took 2 or 3 from Atlanta, 2 or 3 from us, and then possibly, or at least taking 2 or 3, but maybe even sweeping Milwaukee, and then we take 2 or 3 from the Mets. You're like, all right, I mean, we still played terrible, but
Right.
it does sort of mitigate it a little. So,
yeah, getting 2 or 3 from the Mets seems to it kind of makes you forget about that series a hair.
right.
Not really, because we're going to look back in a few months if this thing's close and say, well, they dropped 2 or 3 to the A's.
Yeah,
But
exactly. We lose out on the wild card by a game, and oh man.
right. But either way, I mean, taking 2 or 3. I mean, what's that make you this week? I don't really count Sunday.
Yeah,
About 500 this week.
3-3 this week.
500 this week.
You wanted to do better, but
right. This was a very winnable stretch, but it didn't go down the toilet. So
yeah. And the more important stretch is coming up now. 9 games, Cubs and Brewers. Much more important than A's and Mets. So let's get right.
Yeah, let's just start it with what we've been waiting for. And there's 2 things probably we've been waiting for, but the one that seems like we've been waiting for a while.
Jack Sawinski home run when the score was still close? Is that of what you speak?
3 things we've been waiting for.
All right.
Andrew McCutcheon gets his 2000th hit. First at bat of the game, gets it out of the way. Finally.
Yeah, the best buck of the 21st century hits the milestone in front of a nice crowd. There you go. Very nice. We're branding here.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, what a great signing Andrew McCutcheon has been. And it has nothing to do with legacy, nothing to do with milestones. He's having a terrific season. There you go. So, I mean, it's just last season, I didn't want them to sign him at all. I just didn't. I thought we had too much to sort out, and it didn't make any sense. I was happy they did it this season, but I did not expect this. He's maybe the best hitter on the team right now. I mean, he's in the discussion. You can make a strong argument for him, and I mean, it's such a professional approach and taking. I mean, on the precipice of 2000, and if you're not throwing him the pitch he wants, he's not swinging. You've seen lots of guys get antsy at those kind of things. Right. So it's just been a joy to watch him play and watch what he has brought to this team and brought back to the city. I mean, it has really, really been, a good move. Kudos to everybody involved with it.
Yeah, and just to give him his flowers a little bit, you look at the list of guys that have gotten their 2000 hits, and you look at the career of Andrew McCutcheon. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Like, he's just now at 2000 with the career he's had.
And it's getting harder, right? I mean, I don't know that we're going to see somebody get 3,000 hits again.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say it was not a common thing, but people could do it. And you would, guys would start out like McCutcheon did, and you would say, oh, this guy, he might get to 3,000. But that conversation doesn't happen anymore. So the fact that he's at 2,000 and having endured some, major injury, lost some games to major injury, it's really impressive. I mean, in the era of, gee, if he can hit 220 and get on base, to have 2,000 hits is very impressive. And and I know it's post-game show and this is not the time for that, but it has me rethinking his Hall of Fame case, which I would have told you even prior to this year, I thought he had no case. But 2 more seasons, 2,300 hits,
Yeah, I mean, I think depending on where everything goes, some arguments can be made, but
the postseason success would really be necessary, I think. But now he's not. To me, now it's not absolutely not. And that's where I was coming into this season, and as I just thought more and more about how hard it is to get to 2,000 hits. And here's a guy that there's no steroids. He has just played the game the right way from the day he stepped on the field. You add the intangibles in. I mean, there's just been a tremendous player, and it's great that he's back wearing the black and gold.
Yeah, I think you look at the guys from his generation. I don't know that there's many guys that will really get to 2,000 hits. I mean, you probably throw Mike Trout. Obviously, Mike Trout's in that conversation, but aside from Mike Trout,
and Mike Trout could be one of the 5 greatest players of all time.
So
right?
you look at that bucket of the group of guys that Andrew McCutchen is kind of grouped
his
with.
Peers, his guys that came in around the same time.
The things he's done in his career are very, very impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it happened in black and gold.
Yeah. And at PNC,
Right.
it would have stunk to have it happen. Well, we're glad it would happen, but I don't want to see it at Wrigley.
Right.
PNC Park. And look, I mean, the benefit, again, the intangibles, you had 3 great crowds this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for Andrew McCutchen, plain and simple. He is once again sort of carrying the franchise in a way that few people have been able to do in the last 40 years.
So, yeah, hats off to Cutch. I don't really like to care about things like this. Truthfully, I don't care about things like this, but 2,000 is a big milestone anymore. So, I'll go ahead and hit my cap for once.
Yeah, it's right. It's not. All right, to me, it was never a thing until I really sat down and thought about, wait, people aren't going to get 3,000 anymore. Right. It's just not.
This isn't
happen.
Back in the day, whenever Jason Kendall got his 1,000th. And
right. Right. Who cares? That's nothing. One thing. Right. So that number is changing, and we have to start recognizing that when it comes to appreciating these sort of things.
Just to point out this, I could get 2,000 off Kyle Hendricks. Easy money.
Yeah, if all your at-bats were against Kyle Hendricks, you would be borderline Hall of Fame.
Moving on with some more bats here. Might as well just stick with it. Jack Sawinski, you mentioned him earlier. He hit a home run in a spot where it actually mattered.
Right, in a 2-1 game, he hit a solo shot. Had another hit, I think, prior to that. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm in the same spot I was 3 months ago with him. I don't know.
I tweeted out maybe a week or two ago that I don't think we're going to have answers. No time soon. We're not going to have answers on him, Hayes, Castro. It's just we'll see. I think these questions are going to run into next year, and it'd be great. It would be great to see somebody go on, just for the next 4 months, just be a consistent. I'm not even, talking about 2020 Hayes. It's just to be a consistent, slightly above league average player. I know, again, I can't even explain Jack Sawinski.
I don't think any of us can.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm just kind of at the point with him.
Can we look at his WAR by each game? is that possible? Right.
I'm at the point with him now where I'm happy they don't have him hitting 3rd or 4th, which we might talk about the lineup a little bit, just touch on it. But I think they have him in a good spot, maybe 5th and lower. Keep him there. Right. Let him keep facing lefty. See if he can develop against the lefty, and just let it ride out.
Yeah, and it's not just lefties. He needs more consistency against the righties too. He has long stretches
Yeah.
long stretches where it doesn't matter who's pitching. Kyle Hendricks could be pitching, and
I'm taking him deep.
you're taking him deep, but Jack Sawinski not necessarily.
Exactly. And then just to move on the other run that got scored today, Marcano comes through with guys in runners in scoring position. Unlike last night where we saw him try to bunt, which DiNardo and I found a little bit puzzling. Right now he's swinging a hot enough bat. You just kind of want to let him
Right,
swing
let
it
him
there.
swing. He's barely.
I do think it's a him decision. I don't think that Shelton's going up to tell him
I
to
do
do
too.
it.
I don't think anyone would have thought, hey, a bunt here would be great.
Right.
I hope not.
I'd just like him to have a little more confidence in himself with actually swinging the stick.
Right. Yeah, you can appreciate I gotta, try something, but you're swinging the bat pretty well. You're making good, solid contact. You're winning over the co-host of North Shore 9, and I remember when that trade was made. Not big fans, you guys are not. East Hanks was the the general consensus on that trade. So, and then
around.
Yeah, well, and look, he's given us pretty good reason to think he thinks he's looked until this season. He's looked, awful, right? And so he's come up now. He's solidified shortstop, which that in and of itself has been terrific because it seemed like we were getting an error and then 3 plays that weren't marked as errors, but were definitely errors. Yeah. So a game, and suddenly now, look, the basic plays are made, and he's hitting the bat, hitting the ball pretty well. So yeah, I like what I'm saying. Again, jury's still out, but at this point, he seems like he could be a very good utility team on a good team.
Problem is they got a bunch of those.
That's the bulk of the roster.
One of these guys has to figure it out, and
Yeah.
Fortunately, Marcano at this point looks like he can actually play some short.
Right.
So he
Now I'm scared, right? I'm scared when Castro goes and plays short. I'm scared if Bay is at short. With Marcano, I'm like, okay, the basic, the fundamentals will be taken care of. What else? And will help Benz, I don't know. But it seems that if he is on this team with O'Neal Cruz can get that day off every 2 weeks or whatever, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Aside from that, anyone else you want to talk about in this lineup?
Hayes got a hit.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous that
we're going back to Hayes.
2020 Hayes appeared for 8 to 10 days, and we're the pumpkin, the clock is struck or whatever. I hope not. He did get a hit. Yeah. Reynolds, this series seemed to hit the ball hard several times. Didn't get much to show for it.
The Parks seemed to hold him very well.
Yeah.
This series for some reason.
Right. So I'm hoping that's a sign of things to come. I hope he goes to Wrigley and just a couple multi-hit games. But yeah, there's not much else offensively.
I do kind of want to touch on Carlos Santana. Just waiting on him to just be an average hitter.
Right.
And we're seeing a lot of big spots where he's not coming through. He's not doing a job well. And the discussion really does have to be had of moving him out of that cleanup spot. But the problem is there's nobody else.
Right. The problem is, Marcano's the next best option. Well,
right.
The next best options are at AAA. But, come on, we got to be getting close. But, that would help if we could bring up a good hitting minor league player. So just to give a little depth to this lineup, and maybe, because if he was just batting 5th or 6th, because that's from the start of the season, I've been saying, man, if we could have, and this is, back with O'Neal Cruz, we could have O'Neal Cruz, and say you have had both Andy and Henry up here, and then so you don't need, Cutch and Santana are 5th and 6th. I like the looks of that lineup because at least they're even when they're not hitting, they take pretty good at bats. But Santana, we've asked too much of him. He's an old guy.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah, but they should realize that. We can see that. So maybe there should be somebody up here, or maybe Connor Joe should be playing first base a little more often.
Yeah, I think those DH days need to come into play with Santana a little more.
Right.
Let Cutch go jog out there to right field every now and then.
Yeah.
Play a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, again, if you give Santana a day off, let him DH once, and then he plays 4 games in the field or something, that might help a little. And you certainly could do that. I mean, right? I mean, Cutch has to play right field once a week. That's not too much to ask. And I mean, he looks pretty spry out there. So
it is finally raining around here.
yeah,
We haven't had rain in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what rain is.
Well, I thought I had to fly through mowing my yard because it was supposed to rain at 6. Then all of a sudden it moved up to 3, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go. I already have ribs on the smoker. They're like halfway done.
You were just living the
struggle of a
suburban
day.
dream right there.
Struggle of a day. Anyhow, let's just jump over to Mitch Keller.
Right.
That's what we need to see out of him.
Yeah.
I think obviously people know, like his trainers at Tread know a lot more than I do, but when some Dumbo like myself can sit here and point out that he's just so out of sync with everything,
right,
he can just make a little Zoom call and they're going to get him fixed pretty quick. So that's why I wasn't too concerned with him. It just all looked mechanical with him. So good to see him bounce back today. What he finished with 8 strikeouts in 7 innings, 1 earned, 2 walks.
2 walks, just 2 walks, 2 hits. And he came out for that 7th inning, and I don't think any of us thought that was happening. And he did finish stronger because he was throwing a lot of pitches early, and he still wasn't as sharp as he was during that real great streak. But again, you cannot complain about these results at all. I know you're not a fan of pitcher wins, and I'm not either.
You know what? When you're 8-2,
yeah, he's got 8 on a team that last year's best, most wins was 6. So, that's how I look at it. It's like, okay, this team has played well enough and he's pitched well enough to have 8 wins. That's just shocking. So
I don't want to take us down a sabermetric rabbit hole, but
right.
I think we are kind of circling back to the point where wins are kind of undervalued. Right. And when you're 8-2, that means you're pitching pretty damn well.
Right. That's it. Yeah, exactly right. You don't get 8 wins generally, unless you're like the 5th starter on a Tampa Bay or a Toronto or one of those teams that just puts up 8 runs every game. It's hard to get to 8 wins June 11th.
At the end of the day, you're winning games this guy is throwing in.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the best thing about it is that we feel like we're going to win every time Mitch Keller takes the mound. I mean, we were counting on that Oakland game. We were stunned, and we're like, "Oh man, all right, we've won the first game, and now we got Mitch Keller. We're going to win this series at least." We were already counting up the sweep, but didn't quite work out that way. But Oakland's the hottest team in baseball right now, so
yeah, they might be. But we saw Keller mix the cutter a lot more than he did against Oakland. He was more sweeper there. I don't know if maybe that has to do more with lefty righties and the line of construction, but
right.
Either way, the cutter he has it coming in at 90. It was more like 89 against the A's, so throwing a little firmer, probably. Well, again, it's just syncing everything up again. He's kind of back to where he was maybe a few starts ago, where it didn't look great like we've seen.
Right.
And those starts, the results weren't there. This one, they were. But we're seeing the swings and misses again. That's encouraging.
And his last 2 innings, I think, were his best 2 innings, which again encourages me for sort of that next start. Like he looked a little sloppy, not as sharp, throwing a lot of pitches. And I thought, because the Mets are not that. I know they have a very high payroll, but they're not a really good team at this point. They're not a great hitting team, especially with Alonso out of the lineup. But yeah, he got through them. And again, seven innings, 1-run baseball.
Yeah.
Never going to complain about that.
For the record, it's 5-2 Oakland right now. Oakland on the verge of a sweep of Milwaukee.
That would be a 5-game winning streak. So they're about, they're 1 win off from, of getting half, matching, 50% of their win total of the season coming into
Yeah.
the week.
Maybe the NL Central's just that bad.
Whew, golly. Well, it is looking that way, right?
Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, we better go 7-2 over the next 9.
Is the actual score. I knew not to trust Jim.
That's what he said, 5-2?
5-3, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's 5-3. Okay.
5-3. Then in the 8th inning, Pirates go to Dowry Moretta.
Right.
Not the argument I think I'm going to in the 8th.
No.
Results wise, I mean, I think you could argue it very clearly that Dowry's probably been your third best reliever to this point. Makes sense to go there.
Yeah.
I don't trust him, but he gets the job done.
Yeah, it's the same way. I just keep thinking there's going to be a regression, and he just keeps getting guys out.
There's something about what he's throwing
Right.
that is just very difficult to hit.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
This team, we seem, I can't explain Jack Sawinski. I can't explain Dowry Moretta. I can't explain Yohan Ramirez. Right. There's a lot of, I'm just not sure. Is it sustainable? I don't know, but enjoy it while it's there.
Right.
34-30 on June 11th.
Yeah. I mean, Dowry's, at the end of the day, you look at it and really he's been terrific.
Right. Well, you have complained many times about trading position players for relievers.
Yeah. Oh, I sure have.
Right. And, for Kevin Newman and Vogelbach, we've got Moretta and Holderman, which it's hard to argue with the results of those. And, I mean, your point is spot on. I do not disagree. Especially for, watching Neil Huntington just pick guys up off the scrap heap, and turn them into, lights out 7, 8, and 9 nasty boys type situations. So, but I mean, again, you can't really complain with the results. I'm happy that we have those two guys on the team, and I'm not really missing the other two too much. So I would call those good trades at this point.
I guess.
I don't want to send you down. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not getting down that road.
Why did I tee that up for you? That was just.
Yeah. I just don't think I have that one in me today. Either way, Moretta gets through it. He's looked good this year. I mean, all the numbers look great. There's nothing that really suggests, if you look at a stat sheet, that there's a regression coming.
Yeah.
But the eyeballs show that this ain't the dude.
He's not Chase Young, who,
right.
He was pitching. You're like, this can't last, and he did it all season long, and then right from the rip off this season, it was like, okay, see, it wasn't real. Moretta's, metrics support what he's doing. I mean, he looks like a dominant reliever. So having him pitch in the 8th inning, based on those numbers, seems like the perfect guy to bring in, especially as Holderman's been a little, I don't want to say shaky, but just not as sharp.
Yeah,
and
he's looked a little more hittable.
Right. So I mean, again, it's going to be a problem for this team, and it's probably going to be sooner than later. We need some fresh arms.
They really do need another guy to either step up, or they got to bring someone in that's a lockdown.
Right.
Not even lockdown, truthfully. They just need one more.
Yeah, just another solid, a guy that you can count on for 3 outs. Right.
Yeah. And then Bednar comes in, closes it out, gave up a hit. Whatever. He got
to Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's fine.
At some point, the guy's bound to get a hit.
Yeah. So, and at some point, David Bednar is going to give up a hit. So it's fine. Like I said, it's 14th save. I would say he's a lock to make the All-Star team.
Yeah, and Pirates might have a couple this year.
Yeah. At least Mitch and Bednar look real solid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And
I think Mitch is borderline, but Bednar's probably a lock.
Yeah. Mitch is borderline now. He a couple of weeks ago, but if he can get back to that, and if he's 12-3 or something at the All-Star break, that's hard. And I know again that's
they
it's
still
hard to
look
ignore.
at it.
Right, it's hard to ignore. I mean, a bunch of people say, "Oh no, that's wins." It
also,
matter,
it was the Tommy Pham, hit, I
Oh,
suppose. I'll be honest with you. I was scrambling trying to put stuff away because it was starting to rain.
I was getting in on here. So
So, Tommy fan, our apologies.
yes.
Either way, Bednar gets through it. Pirates win it 2-1. Anything else to add here, Doug?
No, look, it's another week, 3-3. Not again. I think we expected a little better, but whatever. It didn't work out that way. We've got 9 straight, or is it 9 straight? Whatever. We have 9 games in the Cubs and Brewers. Hopefully, we can go into that and prove that the National League Central is as bad as we think it is, except for us. So
yeah. Hey, just be better than the second
right
best team.
Yeah, you don't have to outrun the lion. You just have to outrun the other guy, right? So,
yep. All right, we'll get out of here. Pirates win it 2-1. Take 2 or 3 from the Mets. They are off till Tuesday, and then we're in the Windy City. I don't know if is next week a bunch of afternoon games. No, 8:05, 8:05, and 8:05. Look at that.
Cubs are killing us.
Whoo! I miss the old days of Chicago where they just play at 2:05.
2:20. Yeah, their games were. I lived there for 5 years. It was 1:20 Chicago time. Yeah, they always start at 20 minutes after, and so nice. You're done. You're done at 5 o'clock.
So we got a little bit of a Midwestern series here coming up.
Right.
Either way,
I'm kicking myself for not. I should have went. I could have gone up caught a Cubs game and a Brewers game. That'd have been nice.
Well,
next year there'll be plenty more opportunities for that. So.
Lots more. All right, we're out of here.
All right. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep. Here's Jim Stupidface. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.